As you climb the final peak of the mountain, you can feel the heat increase with every inch you move up. The smoke is so thick you can barely see your hands in front of you. Finally, you reach the top where the cave entrance is. With a gust of wind, all you can smell is the stench of burning flesh and sulfur. A massive roar echoes through the cave, and suddenly you see a bright, burning light rushing towards you with the heat of 1,000 suns. What do you do?
Welcome to another Dragon episode of the It's a Mimic podcast, where you never know what you're gonna get.
Hello, I'm Pepperina, and with me, of course, is Casey. And today we're joined by Miaca for this episode called Red Dragons, the Scariest Firefighters.
This episode covers all things red dragons, including layers and regional effects, hordes, minions, eggs, and more.
All right, so to get us started with the new version, there are a few changes with the looks of it, but not a lot if you look at the artwork of the Red Dragons. The biggest change that I can see is the inside of their wings and their underbelly have sort of this cream color to them. In the past version, they had a bit of this color on the underbelly, but there wasn't nearly as much. The past version, the wings were more red with like black at the ends of them. So these have more of that like light cream color to them, which I found interesting. The brief description we get in the new monster manual is, which this is like underneath, I don't know if it's underneath all monsters or just dragons, but it gives like a little one-liner of like what this thing is about. And it says that this dragon is of greed and devastation. And I think that's a pretty accurate summary of them. Red dragons are the most powerful of the chromatic dragons, and to them that means they're the most powerful of all creatures. They believe that their treasure is lucky to get to be with them, and they guard it fiercely. I like that little bit, like, this treasure's so lucky that I saved it and it's with me now. All dragons love their treasures, of course, but red dragons take it to a whole new level. If a piece is taken, they will burn an entire kingdom to the ground until the treasure is returned and the thief is punished. They build their homes atop mountains and cliffs and are especially fond of volcanoes. If there is a volcano in your game, there should be a red dragon living in it. Their personality sort of progresses through their ages. So at Wyrmling, they are born destroyers right out of the gate. Even as babies, they love burning things just for fun. These are the, pyro kids that are lighting matches and burning ants.
Oh, yeah.
On the playground. However, sometimes they will hold back that urge, and instead of burning something, they will bully it to bring them gifts. So that's really sort of how they start their hordes, I think, is by getting others to do it for them. Moving up to young, this is where red dragons really become truly dangerous. At this age, they are looking to carve out a piece of the world for themselves and really get into the burning, the pillaging, and the conquering. As adults, by this time, they have claimed many regions as their own. However, they don't really concern themselves with how these regions are running. They are not micromanagers as rulers. They just sort of expect that when they come down to look at their glorious lands, that everything is in order. And if it isn't, well, that's not good for anybody. So like the worst boss. They're the worst boss that goes on a golfing trip and comes back, and things better be how they're supposed to be. When they get to ancient, their status and their greed and destructive nature is unmatched. They are so powerful that very few things exist that could stop them. And this is a fact they are well aware of. Now, this might shock some of you, as I am known as the Queen of Dragons or the Mother of Dragons, and known to love all things dragons. Red dragons are my least favorite. Other than lunar dragons, which can fuck off. But of the chromatic dragons, the red ones are my least favorite. To me, they're kind of dull, and I'm not just super into they're powerful because they're powerful, right? But Fizbins can help with this. I particularly like the sections about their traits, their ideas, and their plot hooks. For example, one of the ideas listed is respect. It states that all I have achieved must be acknowledged and treated with the utmost respect. And I think this gives a little more depth to the greed aspect of them. It's not just greed for the sake of being greedy, right? There's more to it with that. I also really like the spells they included to expand the base spell list of the stat block, which I kind of find lacking, and you two will go over what exactly that spell list is when you get into the stat blocks. But dragons are magic, right? They are inherently magic. It is part of them. So I think they should be given more to do with that. My favorite on this list that they include is heat metal, which honestly I think should be a layer action. If you're inside a volcano, your armor is getting real hot, right?
Agreed.
Like, I think that should just be sort of one of their layer actions or regional effects, that it is hard to wear metal the closer you get to them. But I do love that they include that on the spell list in Fizbins. Before we get into their stat blocks, I would like to chat about their treasure, since that is the driving force behind everything they do. Dragons get their power from their hoards, so the red dragon's hoard should be the absolute biggest, since they are considered the absolute most powerful. Each layer should be filled with more gold than seems possible, and it should be from many civilizations and time periods. Should your players pick up a coin, they should not be able to tell exactly where it's from without a very good history check. There should, of course, be lots of gemstones and precious metals and materials, especially rubies and other red gems. You'll find that with most dragons, they prefer the gem of the color that they are.
I feel like, is that just kind of like, you bore me? It's like,
Yeah.
shocking, you love red gems and
You're
rubies.
red and you like rubies.
That doesn't help your like least favorite thing, I feel like.
Yeah, that's also like their they like gold and rubies, and powerful things. Like, there's just not a lot of quirks to them, right? They're pretty straightforward. As far as items go, there will be a mass amount of magical items throughout each hoard. The most powerful items that have ever been created and lost to time will be found here. I recommend in your campaigns having stories of past kingdoms and their powerful magic weapons that were lost centuries ago, so that players can find them here. If there is a story of a brave and powerful knight that used to protect the land, his entire suit of armor and his weapons should be in these dragons' hoards as trophies to show that they are more powerful than these knights that have these stories about them. So that is really the base lore of red dragons. Like I said, there's not a ton of quirks or anything to them. They're powerful, they're fierce, they're greedy. If you look at like pop culture and that kind of thing, think Smog. Smog is your typical red dragon. I feel like a lot of dragons that are portrayed in pop culture and that are red dragons. I mean, a lot of them we get breathe fire and are greedy and burn villages. Like, that's that's what we get a lot. So it's pretty much your standard dragon that you see anywhere.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
I think lots of people don't even realize that dragons can have many different types of fire breathing, many different types of breath weapon. But you basically, the classic is the fire breathing dragon, and they're red.
Yeah. Now, my favorite red dragon was portrayed in the D&D movie.
Yeah.
The Mershad in the Underdark, the big fat red dragon that goes rolling down the hill.
Yeah.
Now, that one I do love.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
a
good
lovely
one.
addition.
Yeah. I painted him. I don't know if he's in this picture behind me, but he is on my wall.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about the Wyrmling. So here's some Wyrmling stats. Pepsi said it, and of course in the monster manual they said it. These are the born destroyers. When they aren't setting things on fire, they're usually bullying others into following orders or bringing them gifts. Hashtag me. So kind of relate to that. Am I terrible? I feel like this is gonna be the
Am I the problem? I don't think I'm the problem.
I feel like this is the series where I'm just getting called out. I don't know how I feel about this.
You're calling yourself out.
I know. It's like I feel like I should apologize to everyone.
Okay. Dragons never apologize, Miaca. You just be you.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true. Thank you,
Yeah.
Peps.
There we go.
Some important stats. They have a CR of 4, and they are chaotic evil. They have a speed of 30 feet, climb is 30 feet, and fly is 60 feet. It's pretty much average and meeting kind of the expectations at this age. Red Dragon Wyrmlings have the following attacks: multi-attack, which are 2 rend attacks. For those that don't know, a rend attack is a melee attack, which includes slashing damage and fire damage, and they also have fire breath. When it comes to fire breath, each creature in a 15-foot cone takes 7d6 fire damage. And even if you succeed, you still take half damage, which that's not fair.
Right, and that's
it's still fire. So
yeah.
It's still
it
fire.
is a deck save. So that's insane.
Yeah. Those cones are nasty.
I mean, the way I see that is if a fire's coming at you and you roll out of the way of it, or you dodge to the side of it and you don't get hit directly with that fire, you are still gonna get the heat coming off of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there would be some singed hair. Smell going on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. You're going to be very uncomfortable. Getting into the young dragon stats. So this is the next level up. When they mature to a young dragon, the speed increases to 40 feet. So it goes from 30 to 40. Climb to 40 feet. And fly to 80 feet. CR is now a 10. Another change is with fire breath. The cone has now gone from 15 to 30 feet, and on a failed save, you take 16 d6 fire damage, which that's a bit of a jump.
That's a bit of a jump. I think the breath weapon alone is why it goes from a CR of 4 to 10, because they're let's not fuck around with this.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Plus that increase in movement and stuff, that's a big jump too.
Boy.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Could you imagine your DM pulling out 16 d6s also?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's the part that's getting me. I'm like,
yeah, and we're only at the young dragon.
Yeah, we're only at the young.
Yeah.
I feel like as a DM, I'd have to go around the table and be like, all right, I need everybody's d6s.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep, it only gets worse. All right, so let's dive into the adult dragon and how we evolve up to that. The dragon grows and it grows from a large size as a young dragon to huge size. And we have pretty much a dramatic change in the abilities and stats because things go up again. The AC goes from 18 to 19. And if we're talking about hit points, the average hit points for a young red dragon is 178, and then the adult red dragon is 256. So it's a pretty steep jump.
Yeah.
The ability scores all increase almost across the board. Like strength goes from 23 to 27, intelligence goes up by 2 points, wisdom goes up by 2 points, con goes up from 21, already high, to 25, and then it is more of an arrogant prick. So charisma goes from 19 to 23. So we're getting that, like, that strength, con, and charisma are mid to high 20s at this point, which, you know, equates to, you can imagine what the modifiers are now.
Mm-hmm.
The young dragon also has blind sight, and when it becomes a adult, it doubles the distance. So it goes from blind sight of 30 feet to 60 feet. And therefore, we have a CR from 10 to 17 with the adult red dragon. We go into legendary resistances now. There's 3 per day or 4 per day if it's in its lair. And legendary resistances, just an FYI, means that if the dragon fails a saving throw, it can succeed instead. I hate that one as a player. It's just like, sometimes you are desperately trying to have that, like, save fail.
Yeah.
And finally it does. And then when the DM's like, it's just going to use one of its legendary resistances to succeed, and you're just like, oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like, I work so hard.
Right?
Especially getting 4 a day inside of its lair. Like, its modifiers are so high. How often is it actually failing?
Yes, I think that's the thing.
That, like, you're not gonna hit it.
Yeah. Oh man. For its actions, it has the ability now to replace one of its 3 rend multi-attacks with a spell attack using Scorching Ray. With almost all the ability scores increasing, it also means their perception and stealth and passive perception increases, as well as their modifiers to hit and damage for the rend. Overall, the average slashing damage is the same, but the average fire damage goes from 3 to 5 points, so a bit more fire damage. And then we get to their breath weapon. Again, it's a dex save, and the DC increases from 17 to 21. Whenever there's a DC over 20, like, your rogues are pretty much the ones that are going to make it. Maybe your monk, but man, it's tough. And that 30-foot cone area effect doubles to 60 feet. And on a failed dex save, you take 17 d6 points of fire damage and half on a success. So we go from 16 with 1 more to 17. This is where the stark difference comes in, is we start getting into spell casting as the adult red dragon. So they require no material components, and they use their charisma. Remember, the charisma has gone up. So they have a +7 as a stat modifier, and the DC spell save is 20. They can cast Command, which is at level 2. Detect Magic and Scorching Ray at will, and once per day, Fireball. Because why not?
Yay.
Also new with the adult red dragon are legendary actions. Similar to legendary resistances, they have 3 per day or 4 if they're in the lair, which means immediately after another creature's turn, the dragon can use a legendary action to do one of these 3 actions. There is Commanding Presence, which basically means they can just cast command. Fiery Rays, which means they basically cast Scorching Ray. And then Pounce. Miaca, this is the one I think you would love in a game, because it's as a legendary action, it can move up to half its speed and make 1 rend attack. So I just imagine actually Adam DMing while you're playing, and Adam going, it's going to go ahead and use a legendary action to pounce, and then it moves immediately in front of Miaca's
Oh
character.
my god.
You'd be like, why?
Yeah. It's like, well, I'm going to die, everyone. That is crazy. Not the pouncing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
Now, for me, I want the pounce to do a little bit more. Because listen, if you think this is an adult dragon, they're huge. If an adult dragon pounces directly in front of you, the ground is going to shake.
Absolutely.
There's
Mhm.
going to be force behind that. I want it to knock you prone, or I want it to like grapple you to the ground, or like something like
Yeah.
that added to it than just like they're in front of you and swat at you.
Yeah.
Like, I think they should add just a tweak more. Like, you're gonna get knocked to the ground just by the sheer force of this thing jumping in front of you.
I completely agree. Add a little more flavor to that.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah. Still terrifying to me though.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yes, and what makes legendary actions also incredibly annoying as a player is that they are regained at the start of each of its turns. So it just, 3 per day or 4 if they're in their lair. They can just do this all the time, every round, and it's relentless. Okay, so let's take it home by talking about then the next level up, which is the Ancient Red Dragon. Growing yet again from huge size to gargantuan, the AC increases from 19 to 22, and the hit point average goes up to 507. It basically doubles.
It basically doubles, yeah.
Yeah, like, oh my God, this is, yeah. Anyway. Yeah,
This
and
is where that comes in once they get to Ancient. They know they're the biggest and baddest and scariest, and this is why.
Yep, and they're like, okay, like come at me then if you want to fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm F-bombing a lot in this episode. These damn red dragons. Yes, and so we do see lots of stat changes, like the stats go up again. Strength goes from 27 to 30, so that's a plus 10 modifier straight with just the straight ability. 16, or sorry, intelligence goes up by 2 points, and wisdom goes up by 2 points again. Con goes from 25 to 29, so we're basically at the max there. And same with charisma. Charisma goes from 23 to 27. So yeah, it doesn't give a shit what you think. It's the most powerful. It will destroy you with the blink, like without even thinking about it.
Yeah. I do find it interesting with dragons that like dexterity never goes up.
Dexterity never goes up. Yeah, it stays at 10 this whole time.
That's always wild to me, that a dragon's dexterity. Like, they can fly 80 feet.
Yeah, right? Yeah, and that's the other thing is I'm not mentioning speeds because speed, once you reach the young stage, doesn't change either.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because you would think the wingspan, like it's our gargantuan, would it be able to have like a further fly speed? But I guess it gets ridiculous if it's too long.
Yeah, it's already 80, so
yeah, I don't know. So yeah, we are sitting at a CR of 24, and that's a bump from the 17 as the adult red dragon. So it's a big battle if you're going into combat with this. It's going to take a long time. You better have backup and you better be at high level. The ancient red dragons let me try that again. The ancient red dragon legendary resistances increase from 3 per day to 4, and then 4 per day in its lair to 5. So yeah, you got 5 legendary resistances. It's never going to fail a save to begin with, and if by chance the DM rolls a nat 1, it's just going to do the legendary resistance. So good luck with that.
I mean, it's got a lot of plus 10 on strength anyway, so it's not failing a strength throw.
No.
To begin with.
Yeah. And like with the adult red dragon, it with almost all the ability scores increasing, that means perception and stealth and passive perception are increased again, as well as their modifiers for hit and damage on the rend attack. Overall, the average slashing damage increases from 13 to 19, and then the average fire damage goes from 5 to 10 points. So it's just hurting you way more per slash, and it can still do just as many. Their breath breath weapon. So the dex save DC increases from 21 to 24, and the 60-foot cone area of effect increases to 90. So 90-foot cone. Like
That's a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Like,
hopeless.
Mhm.
And then on a fail, it's 26 d6 points of fire damage, which equates to an average of 91 hit points of damage.
Yeah.
Oh, your wizards are so screwed if they are in that. Yeah, it's devastating.
Yeah, see that you're definitely gonna have to ask your players for dice. Like what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
26 d6s.
You just have to like make sure you have 26 d6s out at the beginning of your session.
Yeah, that's a foreshadowing. If your DM brings out like a case of d6s, it's like, I might need this today. It's like, why do you have that? What's that for?
Why you have so many?
Yeah. So of course the spell casting as well with the ancient red dragon is more devastating too. The charisma score increases. It now has a +8 modifier and a DC of 23 for spell attacks. And so at this point, it can then do Scorching Ray at level 3 instead of just the base level. And once per day can also cast Scrying as an additional option to Fireball. And I'm with you, Peps. I'm like, really? That's it?
Yeah. Right?
It's kind of...
It's an ancient red dragon.
Yeah. Yes.
It is the most powerful being in the Forgotten Realms.
And they add scrying.
Scrying, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
but you brought up a good point earlier about Fizzbins, and it's supplementing a little bit of that. So yes, the new monster the 5.5 monster manual didn't really bring it.
Yeah.
But
it's a little lacking in some areas.
A little bit. But if you want to flip over to Fizzbins, there is a section on Red Dragon spellcasting where they do give you a bit more options for spells at young, adult, and ancient. So use it to flavor things. For an ancient Red Dragon, it has options like Bane, Dominate Person. Makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Heat Metal, Hypnotic Pattern, Power Word, Stun, of course, and then Suggestion. So yeah, I would integrate that in.
Yeah,
like for sure.
I also would add there is a section in Fizzbins where it sort of gives you permission as the DM to fully homebrew and add to your dragons.
Yeah.
Right? Like these are base things. You are the DM. You can add whatever you want to your dragons that make sense in your campaign. So, if you are running a dragon, keep that in mind, take that to heart. Don't just give them whatever just to give them whatever, but make it make sense, but definitely add to them because they should be so much more than what is in here.
Yeah, and then that's where you can decide what kind of arrogant personality it does have, more things that might connect to it, like Hypnotic Pattern. Maybe it loves to mess around and confuse people as for entertainment, and so you would pick that one over just Power Word Stun. It's let's mess with people's minds as well as while I kill them.
Yeah, it's a little bored. It's been a minute since any adventurers come here, so I'm gonna have fun with this one.
Yeah. Understandably. All right. So we can go into further details overall just about red dragons. We're concluding about the stat blocks. It's understandably the scale up that you would expect, and we would even add a bit more flavor with the adult and ancient dragons with the spell casting. But there's also the layers and all of the other things that go along with the red dragon.
Yeah, the things that make the dragon, right?
Yes.
And not just like a stat block. Because other monsters, they're stat block. Like dragons need more.
Exactly. And so red dragon lairs are formidable. They're generally found in hills and mountains. The lairs are strategically chosen for their ability to keep things far away that might try and steal their hoard or want to get in. It could be a volcanic mountain or a wasteland that they actually destroyed and killed everything around it and then created a home there. It's like, oh, this is nice. Everything is burning.
I love it.
The adult and ancient dragon adds effects to their lair, making the areas within 1 mile of the lair extremely hot, where a burning creature or objects takes an additional 1d4 fire damage at the start of each of its turns. So very important to keep in mind if you are moving through it, because that is 1 mile from the lair. Mm-hmm. If you mess up and you end up on fire, you better be put out because you're going to rapidly burn. Secondly, in the same 1 mile area is lightly obscured by smoldering haze, which also makes a lot of sense. If a creature must rest in that area, though, it has to make a DC 15 con save at the end of the long rest. On a fail, it has the poisoned condition for an hour. I would make that poison condition last until they exit the smoldering haze.
Yeah.
Because why would they recover from poison if they're still in it?
Yeah.
In the haze. That's just me.
I agree.
These effects end if the dragon leaves the lair or it dies. So that's what's covered in the monster manual. But again, we love Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. We just get a bit more to add in. So when we jump over to that book, you can learn more about what the physical features of a red dragon's lair might have. And if you like, some additional lair actions, including a noxious smoke that surrounds the dragon in a 50-foot radius sphere, which is heavily obscuring the dragon and causes poison damage on any creature that enters it if they fail the con save. So again, it's going to do that. It's going to poof and you could describe that coming from its mouth. It's like it draws in not a breath weapon breath, but then it just lets out this smoke that surrounds it. And so then your barbarian going straight in just hacks and coughs because it's got to make this con save.
Yeah, which definitely makes sense. I mean, if you consider being in a burning house, whether you get actual burns on you or not, you still the gas and the smoke in that still will fill your lungs and you can still die just from that.
Absolutely.
Just from being in a room filled with that, whether you get burns on you or not.
Yeah. Yeah. And exactly the same is another effect of searing heat, because you also don't have to walk through flames to get burned if you are close enough. So this acts in a similar way that you can choose to have a 15-foot radius sphere around the dragon of this searing heat that deals the fire damage on a failed con save. But you would describe that very differently to the breath weapon fire. It's that radiant heat that you were talking about before, Peps, about walking in the area and being that close to it, you're going to get burned even though there's no fire potentially. Mm-hmm. And their hoards will be vast, full of magical items and treasures. They will fiercely protect them, and they actually will know every last item, even if it's, huge, like a vast pile. They know what's in there. Fizban's gives us examples of what you would find in a red dragon hoard. And again, this was when I was reading this, I was like, metal and stone, red rubies, and fiery gemstones. Cool.
Yeah.
Pretty
standard.
Mm-hmm.
Again, think Smog.
Yeah, exactly right.
When they go into Smog's lair, that's this.
Yeah, and it's just slithering through the piles and piles of gold and rubies and. Mm-hmm. But we do get a list of. Let me find it here. I'm going to get you both to roll a d12.
Okay.
You don't get to roll that one very often.
Right?
Yeah.
It's always nice when you get to bust out the 12.
Yeah. We get a list of potential art objects that will be in a red dragon horde.
All right, I got a 9.
I got a 5.
All right. So for the 9, a fist-sized gemstone carved into a likeness of the dragon's head.
No, that tracks.
Yeah.
How can I make this more arrogant?
Yes. And then for a 5, a tiered fountain filled with liquid gold that is cool to the touch, but immediately hardens if removed from the fountain. Well, that would be a desired item to take, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're trying to think of similar or relevant horde items that would be in a red dragon that would be of interest to your party, there's a D12 table.
Yeah.
Okay.
And really, like, all of them should be in there.
Add them.
Just add all of them in there.
And as we've mentioned in the past, magic items do absorb the ambient magic of the dragon's horde, and so they can even become more desirable to steal and more powerful. So if a red dragon's lair resides in the depths of a volcano, they can even tear into other planes of existence, like the elemental plane of fire or the lower planes, which to me, I never would have, yes, we've talked about how much magic and power they have, but it did not occur to me that this could be a thing that dragons can do in their lair. And just adds another angle for wanting to go into a lair, because maybe you need to get to the elemental plane of fire or whatever.
Yeah, that would be a good hook.
Yeah. So that was quite interesting. As well, since there's a tear into another plane, servants of the red dragon may come through to the dragon's lair in this way. And so servants and minions, they will likely be tasked with gathering more treasure and then protecting the horde as a whole. These creatures also can end up being fused with some of the magic from the dragon and lair. In Fizbins, we learn more about what kinds of traits the servants or minions might have. They aren't desirable. It's not a benefit to them to get this. And not surprisingly, it benefits the red dragon.
Yeah, absolutely. The worst boss. They're the worst boss.
Worst ever. Yeah, the turnover rate is high.
Yeah.
Yeah, for example, they can get the ability of being explosive. So the minion explodes when it dies, dealing 1d8 fire damage to each creature in a 5-foot radius. Miaca's just like, this is ridiculous. Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, and they can also be sacrificial, so that when it dies, the red dragon regains hit points equals to 4 times the minion CR, as long as the dragon is within 60 feet of the minion. But it's but again, if its minion dies, it doesn't actually care because it heals. So you're welcome. It can also give the ability of selfless bodyguard. When the red dragon is attacked and the minion is within 5 feet of their master, the minion can use its reaction to make the attack hit itself instead of the red dragon.
Absolutely not. Never make me this in gameplay.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, their minions are just cannon fodder. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
I could see the red dragon just throwing its minions at you.
Oh yeah.
Just so that they die.
And explode.
And like, oh, I'm getting a little low on HP here. I'm gonna toss this minion at you and gain some back.
Yeah. I know. And so if it's a long-standing minion that has gained like CR and is more like a more powerful creature, it's even more likely to throw that one. Because it's like, oh crap, I just took a bunch of damage. Here, take this one because I'll get 4 times.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. That's
I know. And one last note, of course, is we have to talk about their eggs. So what would their eggs look like? So I imagine they're rubies. But also they could be like I imagine like the charry black, like they look like they're covered in soot. And I think they would have to be burning hot. Like you can't actually hold them with bare hands, or if you put them in a bag, they just burn a hole through a bag. Like you have to figure out how to take them and then carry them, because it's not just going to be as simple as picking it up and walking away. Yeah.
Oh God, could you imagine your players putting that into their bag of holding, it burning a hole through it, and then just all of their shit falling out?
Yeah.
I'd be so mad.
Yeah, like I love kind of spinning it like that, where it's not just describing what it looks like, but it has like the ability to do damage and mess things up if you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? Like, what else would you do about the for eggs and
The eggs. I also like the idea of it being a ruby and them like your players not knowing it's an egg and stealing it and then like running. And not only is the dragon pissed because like you took part of its treasure, but it's actually their child.
Yeah.
And like while you're on the run, it hatches.
Yeah.
And then you're like, then you have this bully of a red dragon wyrmling with you.
Oh man.
That you have to return because this dragon's on your ass, and you're like, well, maybe if I just return, it'll be okay.
It's like, so sorry.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, so that's all I got to say about that. But it's entertaining to talk about the dragon itself and then all the extras, and this will be a theme as we go through these dragon episodes.
Yeah. All right, so one thing that the new Monster Manual took away was regional effects. And if anybody listens to the past Dragon episodes, we boast about regional effects continuously. Every episode. We loved the regional effects. So, what is something you guys would add to that? Like, what would you make a regional effect for a red dragon?
I would add there would be no vegetation growing at all, right? It's a wasteland. It's either up a mountain into a volcano where nothing can survive, or it's a wasteland that the red dragon has burned and it's just ever burning. So I would add that, if a player, like, you have to pay attention to how much water you bring with you and how much food, because you're not going to find any vegetation, or you're going to have noxious pools of water that you're like not going to be able to drink.
Yeah.
Or they're like geysers that go off and
yes,
hot
exactly.
springs and stuff.
So I would add a note around that, so that you're describing, like, when you're entering the region of the red dragon's like lair, because you just see the vegetation start dying off and then you're into a wasteland and there's just nothing. It's like, all right, we need to, see how, like, we can't stay in this region for days and days and days, because things are going to take effect.
Yeah. Kind of like playing off of that, Casey. I'm thinking of something like the air quality is terrible, and not just like with smoke, but there's almost like, I want to say acid almost, but not acid. Like you have to take your time, like walking towards its lair almost, because you can just become out of breath or something like that. Like air quality is just terrible, but I don't want it to be smoke. I want it to be like, there's like a heaviness almost, because like you said, vegetation is like, has died off and it's just kind of like a bit of a wasteland. So to kind of make it a little bit harder on players to kind of move through a portion of it, it doesn't have to be the whole trek towards the, the closer you get, but like there's this one spot where you have to like take your time making your way through because the air quality is just so terrible. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That reminds me of like, it was like a couple years ago when Canada was on fire. Like all of that smoke and haze came down here to Ohio. Like we had days where we were told not to go outside because Canada was on fire. And
Yeah.
it affected our air. Like so far away. So like it's that same kind of like it would move across the lands in like waves almost.
Totally.
Of the air quality.
Yeah. And you could even, like, if you're handing out a map of the region, you could have highlighted like the lower plains areas as like a void because there's this never ending haze. And so if you try and trek through that, you're going to be slowed down. It's like you're moving at half speed because you're dealing with this like heaviness in the air.
Yeah.
And then if your party looks so they can see how to navigate to avoid some of it to actually get closer before they enter all of the like noxious gas from the actual air. That would be cool.
Yeah. See, I like regional effects that like affect the people and creatures in the area. So I would like take that dragon's greed because that is its driving force. And like every person or creature in this area just like has this driving greed inside of them. But they're also like not for themselves to give it to the dragon because as the Wyrmling, they bully creatures into getting them treasure. So like their regional effect as they get older would just be bullying the creatures to get them treasure. So they're like you go into a town and it's just like filled with pickpockets, right? Like everybody around you is trying to take things from you. And like it's just this known like then they put it in a pile somewhere and the dragon comes and takes it.
Yeah, that's cool. That reminds me of like in our season 3 of the Giants where we're digging into Big B's Glory of the Giants. There's a few instances of really powerful like storm or cloud giants where that's what happens is they influence their thoughts on the creatures that come into the area. So then the creatures feel this like strong impulse to give them an offering. So it's like, I need to go shopping and buy something and bring it to this meadow. I don't know why, but
yeah.
So it's like that where it's like, I need to steal stuff. I need to go get stuff and bring it to this area. Like, I don't know why, but I have to. I have to do this. What a clever way to, like, it's like when you're like the pickpocket scenario. It's like, what a really low key hint to give your party is there seems to be a lot, like a couple of the players get pickpocketed and it's like, there seems to be a lot of pickpocketing. Like, what's going on there? And then it ends up being a red dragon.
I see. I would lose my patience quick. I would, like, first of all, and I'm gonna say it. I respect no one in this town because of the jobs that you guys are doing. Like, we're pickpocketing for the red dragon. Like, okay, like I would just leave. Like, no. My patience they would wear on my patience. Like trying to dodge pickpocketing. Like what?
All the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like it wouldn't just stop at humanoids. Like it would also be like squirrels. It would be like other creatures that also could do that.
Yeah. See that?
There'd be like a little mouse that you find inside of your bag, like trying to drag a coin out of it.
It's like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I'm sorry.
Like, did that mouse just try to rob me? Like, what?
Right.
Oh my goodness. And like, can you imagine there's like a known dropping ground, like to deliver your stolen items, and there's little like squirrels and mice dropping things and like it's dumping out, like there's all types of creatures just dumping.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
As a player, I would say like, all right, everyone find your stuff, grab it. I'm setting this whole thing on fire.
Miaca becomes the red dragon and burns the village to the ground.
Pretty much. The red dragon was with you guys all along.
The whole time. I know, we thought she was a topaz. Turns out she's a red.
It's just the people stealing from me to like uplift the red dragon in town. It's just wild. Like, how dare you? It's a great idea though. It's a great idea. Like, honestly, perfect idea. As a player, I would just be like weirded out. Like, what?
All right, let's roll a dice and go around and talk about our inspirations.
I feel like we just tangent.
Yeah.
We just went on a big tangent about something that isn't in the show notes.
Yeah. It's like, oh, right, we should have rolled before we went off for
That's
the last 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. That one was a spur of the moment question, so I didn't want to like put pressure on whoever rolled first. All right, I got a 5.
Oh, so did I.
Oop.
Roll up.
1.
8.
Ugh. I got a 12.
All right, so Miaca's going first. All right, yeah. Do you have any just like basic inspirations that you got from these, or anything you particularly liked or did not like?
So the minion part I thought was very funny. Like the whole explosive part and then the sacrificial part and the like the bodyguard part.
Yeah.
It's like just kind of see that in action. Like when you're like in initiative, I would just be like, this is insane. Like, what's happening? And it's like, why? I don't know. Whoever that minion is, I just have no respect for. It's like, I really have to kill you now. Like,
I mean, if we're being honest, it's a lot of kobolds.
mhm. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. But I don't know. I even though it's kind of crazy to like watch unfold as like a player, it's an interesting piece of bringing in a minion to kind of fight the party. I like that.
The fodder, and like launching a handful of kobolds at you. Some are the sacrificial lambs, and some are the exploding ones, where they're basically just like bombs being dropped.
Mhm.
Hilarious, but
and like the dragon doesn't care to know which one is which, so it just picks up a bunch of them.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Why would you? And like,
or he has them in different colored shirts.
oh my god.
Oh, it's 2 shirts for me. Oh man.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and I think if you do really have to fight this thing, more than likely, if it's unexpected, you're gonna have to run away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the only way you're going to be possibly successful is if you can find ways to mitigate the fire damage. So like do some prep work, gain some abilities for resistances, take some potions, buy some potions, so that because it's that cone, 90-foot cone, you can't avoid that.
Yeah.
And just, yeah. So if you're trying to come up with a strategy in combat with it, it's like just go against that fire damage, and then you'll be happy about it because of the regional effects that we added in, and like, the layer effects. Like it's all just, if you suck at fire or defending against fire, you're not going to make it even to the dragon itself.
Yeah.
Right.
You'd have to be like a party of tieflings.
Yeah.
That get fire resistance.
Yeah.
That could be a fun one shot.
Yeah.
Everyone's a tiefling, and it's just let's see what we can do to kill a dragon.
No, I mean, if it's an ancient dragon, you're still going up against 2066 or something like that.
Oh yeah.
So your resistance is still not.
And yeah, and
like cutting a ton. Yeah.
And over 500 hit points to chip away at.
Yeah.
So while it's launching its minions to regain its hit points.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, for me, most of the inspirations that like I really get into come from Fizbins. Versus what they have written in the monster manual. Which, I expressed my dislike for. Um so I would say like definitely lean into the Fizbins. If you want to run an interesting red dragon, add to it. For sure. I like the layer effects. I like the taking the D4 of damage at the beginning of your turn because it's so hot. Like I think that makes sense. I like the smoky haze. That makes sense. I would also change. It said in there for a long rest. I would also change that to a short rest.
Yeah, because why not?
Why not? I would say if it was a long rest, like you said, it lasts until you get out. If it's a short rest, it lasts an hour.
Yeah.
Like that's how I would do that. But yeah, I think with dragons you really have to play around with like the effect that they have on the world and the layers and around them too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we talked about minions and like hordes of kobolds potentially, but they also have enough power and influence to create their own army of their followers. So you could even have to build an army of your own to fight the Red Dragon's army before you can even begin attempting to defeat the Red Dragon itself.
Yeah, that's crazy. But
Yeah.
cool to pull
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, if you're going against a dragon, you're never just going against a dragon. Like,
No.
you're going against the elements, you're going against its territory, you are going against its minions. Like, being in its lair is an entirely separate encounter itself versus the fight with the minions and the fight with the dragon. You are fighting the slayer as well. So, like, keep that in mind also.
Definitely.
Okay, so now to everybody's favorite part. On a scale of 1 to 10, how fuckable are the red dragons? I love the pause and the thinking, and I wish you could see their faces as they consider this. I already have a whole list of all of these dragons in my head and how fuckable they are, so I always wait to see what you ladies say.
I'm gonna say I'm I'm gonna say a 10 because they are the storybook arc of who did this to you.
Yeah.
I will destroy the world to get you back.
Mhm.
The villain of all of the enemies to lovers storylines.
Yeah.
And so,
Mhm.
you can't ignore that.
Yeah. I would say 9. I'm only deducting a point. So all the reasons Casey just said, but I'm deducting a point because I feel like I would get annoyed at some points and be like, why? It was too much energy for this situation. But like literally obsessed with me. It's like, but I have to go be an adventurer now. And then just popping up throughout the campaign, just like chasing me across the cosmos or whatever.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, that would be annoying.
That. Yeah.
All right.
It was annoying, but I would like it at the same time.
For me, they're like a 2.
I was not expecting that.
These are the guys that are going to think they are doing you a favor by sleeping with you, and they're gonna tell all of their friends that they were the best you've ever had, but you didn't finish because they don't care if you finished or not as long as they do.
Makes sense.
That's
Yeah, I see
true.
it.
That's true.
Yeah, I see it from that angle.
See, and I think it would be, I see both of your points because this would be like, I am in this moment and embracing this energy at this time, but then I want nothing to do with it after. Like, this is not my boyfriend. This is just, the situation.
This is like your rebound after you have a breakup, and he's like the very buff gym bro you see at a bar, and you're like, this is gonna be amazing. And then you go home and they never actually learned how to please a woman because they never needed to because they look so good.
Yeah, I don't like that. That wouldn't be a 10 for me. Oh, Peps.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe an 8. Maybe a 9.
I brought it down.
Yeah.
That's an ick.
Yeah.
You're gonna think it's gonna be a 10, but it's gonna be a 2.
Yes, maybe that's it. In theory, it should be a 10.
In theory, it should be a 10, but it's not.
Okay, damn it. I'm pulling it down to a 5. There we go. Neutral territory.
I love that I've lowered this for you both. I've ruined this fantasy.
Yeah.
I've spent way too much time thinking about fucking dragons.
There is never too much, but you probably do well above average.
Probably. All right, so final thoughts and inspirations for the red dragons. They're not my favorite, but I love them still. They are still dragons. They do have a place in this. If you are at a table with new players who don't know a lot about dragons, who don't know a lot about the game or the lore, and all they know is pop culture dragons, this is a good one to use because it's familiar. If you throw a white dragon at them at first, they're gonna be like, "What do you mean it breathes ice?"
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I think this is a good, it is your standard dragon that everybody knows and loves and is familiar with. Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
and will be thrilling to them. Like if that's if they understand it, recognize it, it's like, oh my gosh, this is wild. We're fighting a red dragon. Like it still will be really fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just know there's so much more out there.
Yeah. Ease them into it. And if this is the first dragon, maybe they find other inklings and clues and stuff of other dragons being out there, because dragons are aware that other dragons exist. They fight with them, they battle against them, they get territory from them. They're going to have things that did belong to other dragons as well. Whether that's trophies of their heads of dragons they have killed, have a trophy room. So it shows these new players, oh, there's more than this one here.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I agree with both of y'all. It's the perfect standard dragon to introduce players to. So
yeah.
Thank you so much for joining Pepperina, Miaca, and I today and supporting It's a Mimic. We hope you were thoroughly entertained and inspired.
That's all for this episode of the It's a Mimic podcast. This episode and others can also be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and most other podcast apps. Please take a second to engage with a like, follow, subscribe, comment, or review to help push our engagement. Thanks for listening to the It's a Mimic podcast, where you never know what you're gonna get.
This week on the It's a Mimic channels, we've finally caught up after all of this time. And that means we're back to a normal schedule with an episode on Tuesday for the public channels and an episode on Thursday for the It's a Mimic Patreon. And while everything I said is true, that's just the tip of the iceberg. We've got more. So, yes, there's the episode today, but on the Patreon today, we're bumping up the Pantheons episode so we can get to it early. And it's a good episode, too, because we're discussing two of my favorite gods from Greyhawk, the Combat Brothers, Heronius and Hextor. And we're also bumping it forward because we have a bonus Pantheon episode to cover another god from Greyhawk in the regular Thursday time slot. So that's nice. But it feels like we need to balance that with another public episode, so we'll be digging into how to homebrew a Council of the Undead in our next Platinum Great Worm episode, and that's tomorrow. So there you go, and a bonus on Wednesday. Because on Thursday, we're going to have another episode just in time for Halloween. We'll be releasing our episode on tieflings as a playable species, and we'll be doing that on all the usual public apps. And yeah, we're doing it early. And why is that, you might ask? And that's because next week is Halloween week. And we take Halloween very, very seriously. We always do some kind of special, and I'm sure you'll all be excited to know that we're finally returning to something we have not done in years. An It's a Mimic Let's Play episode. Our first one for Halloween ever. And it won't be nearly as chaotic and weird as we've been in the past with rotating DMs and musical chairs. Instead, it's a longer episode with a cohesive story that will come out on Monday and settle into a quaint little bit of folk horror as I take 3 of our hosts on an adventure that I wrote called Fear Itself. Anyone who follows our Patreon, even the non-paying followers, will have listened to an episode on theme, and they're going to know that I prepped this using some of the partnered content that's available on D&D Beyond, and I've been pretty excited about this. So please join me and 3 adventuring witches as they descend into a small pastoral town in the shadow of a mountain, and witness the strange and ominous, fearless feast under the watchful eye of the towering FNG Jack. And if I don't talk to you again before Halloween, remember to drink responsibly, watch out for ghosts, ghouls, and goblins, and make sure to hit the stores in early November for that discounted candy. So now that we're done another dragon episode, let's talk about traps, because every good dragon has multiple layers, and every good layer has multiple traps. Remember that good traps support the suspension of disbelief, which means they have to make sense, and they have to work within the boundaries and established logic of your campaign. For unique traps, I tend to look to the 2001 publication from Fantasy Flight Games called Traps and Treachery. It was designed with 3.5 in mind, but we know that just means the numbers are high and the details are crunchy, and I feel that most dragons would appreciate that. For this episode, I've decided to look at the trap called Blackstone's Searing Sconces, because you knew it had to be fire, because it's a Red Dragon episode. So, Blackstone's Searing Sconces is considered to be a complex mechanical trap because it's got like piping and ductwork for high pressurized oil that's going to get sprayed out through a bunch of nozzles and whatnot. That's all well and good if it's a wizard. I feel like for a dragon layer, depending on who your minions are, they may not have the understanding or the ability to create kind of like high pressurized like pipes and sealants and whatnot, right? So I would instead try to have things just like there are like natural bladders that when you step on the pressure plate that of course you're going to step on, or a tripwire. It could be any number of things, but if you trigger the trap, it just like sprays. It just closes. Hell, you could have like a magical lamp, like an oil lamp that a genie would come out of. You could have those that just start spewing oil out of them. But the idea is that you have a corridor with a handful of sconces. If it's a dragon's lair, maybe it's just torches sitting in the wall, but whatever it is, there is open flame. Behind the flame, hidden in the wall and attached to the pressure plate, are these nozzles full of oil. And when you hit the pressure plate, all of these nozzles open up and it starts spewing oil into the air, then lighting up the whole corridor. There would be a deck save to be able to negate some of the damage, hit the deck, whatever you need to do, but you're essentially lighting it up at about shoulder height, the entire corridor, but not just with fire, with oil. So if anybody actually gets coated in the oil, they not only take the 2d6 fire damage when they get hit, they're also now on fire, taking another 1d6 fire damage, and they're not able to put themselves out until they get out of the corridor. Right? So if it's a long corridor, or you combine this with a portcullis, or you drop a fucking fire elemental in the midst of it, then this is going to be a bad day for all the adventurers. So there are a number of ways for rogues to kind of spot this, and I don't hate the idea of them getting past it. Just the existence of something like this is going to scare them and make them slow down and not be quite as reckless. So if they find the nozzles or the oil or the perfectly spaced torches or sconces that are attached to the wall, then maybe they will take a second, go back and try another way. A lot of layers should be kind of like mazes and have multiple entrances and exits, multiple tunnels, some dead ends. Like, there should be another way. This will just be like the fastest, and it's trapped. The other fun thing about this that I like is it is going to continue to burn in there for a while, so it closes off a retreat. If they get overwhelmed in the next chamber or two, they're not going to be able to fall back because that corridor will still be burning because of all of the oil in there. And that is just an extra kind of dread, especially when you're going into a red dragon lair. So it's 2d6 when you get hit by this. It's not meant, like, you're high level, right? Like, it's not meant to really eat up your resources. It's just meant to start chipping away at the hit points little by little now, so that you will not be entering the final fight completely ready to go. All those temporary hit points from Hero's Feast will be gone by the time you get there. So anyway, now that we've set another trap for our players, I gotta ask you, what monster or minion do you think would pair nicely with Blackstone's Searing Sconces? If you'd like to support us, we have a store with some merch and a donate button on our website, itsamimic.com. You can also head to itsamimic.com to find a comprehensive episode guide and more information about the show. We do have a Patreon, which not only offers access to our exclusive Discord server, but also hosts over 100 episodes, including a variety of bonus episodes covering topics like 5th edition book reviews and the campaign builder, spells and gods, fae, homebrew inspiration, and even the Blood War. If you'd like to submit any mailbag questions, please reach out to us through any of the social media links in the show notes of this episode, or send us an email at info@itsamimic.com. This has been an episode of It's a Mimic, where you never know what you're going to get.